Hey, welcome to part 6. Today we are going to build the search page and connect it to the server so we can go ahead and type in a few tag names that we're looking to search for and find all of the journal entries that match these tag names. So here we go. I know I haven't said it much in this course, but hey, if you made it this far, my chances are you found this really valuable. So if you wouldn't mind hitting the subscribe button and give this video a like, that would help me out a bunch. I appreciate you making it this far through, and I'm excited to do the search page with you. So our search page is going to have a very similar HTML structure as all the rest of our pages. We are going to go into our VS Code. We'll go to our search area. Oh, did we not make a search page yet? Looks like we haven't. We need to go ahead and create our search page. So we're going to go right click on components, new folder. We're going to call it search. And inside, we might have, what's going on here? Oh, I think we accidentally nested it. Oops, we need to put it in the source folder. Yes, we'll move that. So inside here, we're going to, we're going to Control C, Control C. We're going to cd src search. All right, now we can see that we are in the search folder itself. And now we're going to go ahead and touch search.js, search.scss. And we can see here that created our two folders. And the last time we ended up building something on our React pages, we also need to run npm run sass. So that way it looks through, it makes sure it does the watch, and it should create our new CSS search file. Now for me, it took a little bit, so we can see now, however, the search.css is there. So we'll go to our JS file. And we need to do const search, and we're going to make it export default search. Don't forget to add the semicolon there. Now we're going to go ahead and return similar structure to what we've had before, so we can actually go into our home page. We can see we've got a section, we've got a div that wraps a couple of things, so we're going to have a very similar structure. So we're just going to go ahead and actually copy these two, bring it on over into here. We can see the div finished. Let's go ahead and just finish the section, get that lined up. There we go. All right, so after that, we're going to go to create.js, and we're just going to go ahead and copy this entire form. And now we'll go to our search.js, get rid of this div. We're going to paste that in there, okay? And we're not going to use all of it, but we do need to use a few different things. We'll get rid of this div regarding the class name tags, because we do need an input field where we can type in the name of our tags, right? And we're going to get rid of this text area and label here, but not the button. The button we want to be called search, and hit save. And down here, we're going to create a new div. That div is going to contain our journal entry squares. So for sake of just getting stuff there, we'll put the journal entry square, and we'll close that out. Yeah, there we go. Now this div is going to have a class name called search_journal list. So class name is going to be search_journal-list. Okay. Now the idea here, let's see what the page looks like. We'll go ahead and give it a refresh. So we have not added this path yet to our website. So we need to go to our app.js, and we need to go ahead and add the search. Go ahead and just delete that one and then do it from scratch. So SEARCH, that way we can get the autocomplete. Nice. So now if we refresh it, maybe let's hit that there. There we go. Oh, duh. We stopped our code from running, so we need to do npm run start. So we got it running started now. Obviously, there are a few things that aren't defined yet in the search.js. We're going to do a little bit of code modification here. So we can see that there are two functions that we're using that we used in our create.js. The one that we're going to extract into its own like utilities file is this handle space down and the remove item in there. And the reason why we want to do that is because we want to write dry code. Don't repeat yourself code. Wet code is write everything twice. And we just want to make sure that we're doing some best practices here. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab this bad boy. I'm just gonna copy it for now. And then we'll have in our source, we'll actually just create a new file and we'll call it utils.js. All right, so we're gonna have our handle space down. Yeah, we'll actually do export const handle space down. And what that will allow us to do is then in our create.js, we can import and destructure, but we want to do handle space down from the utils folder. And that will allow us to leverage it here, but we're going to need to add a number of things to it. First, we're going to need to add tags as a dependency, and then we're also going to need to add the set tags list as a dependency. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to go ahead and just delete this now from there. And we need to keep E there, and then we'll do tags, and then set tags list. All right. And so now we're going to go back to our utils. We need to do tags as well as set tags list. All right, and so we're getting some errors down here in the search.js. That's fine, that's normal. Let's go ahead and import it here. Import handle space down from the utils. Great. So handle submit isn't defined. Totally get that. Tags buttons and tags is not defined either. So we're going to go ahead back in our create.js. We're going to go and grab tags, copy that, bring it over to our search. And that is our use ref. So just to get it auto completed there. Now we see tag buttons is not defined. So with our tag buttons, we can actually export this into our utils file as well. How do we want to do this though? We're going to need to do a little bit of a modification to it because tag buttons is here. So we'll actually just grab this part up to here. Yep. So go to our utils, export const get tag buttons. All right, and that's going to be its own thing. Now we need to return tagslist.map, but we need to have our tags list as a dependency to this function. So if we go to our create, And the same import as our handle space down, we need to do get tag buttons. And we'll put that here. Cut this, don't delete it, cut it, because we're going to do get tag buttons. And then put that there. So now we can go ahead, delete that. But I believe now in our utils, right, we have remove item that we need to also bring out from here. So let's grab that. We're going to cut that. And in our utils, we'll export and paste. Now we see here it's getting called here. So not only do we need to pass tags list, but we also need to pass set tags list. So that means we need to pass set tags list into here as well. And we can see in our utils, tags list is not defined, set tags list is not defined, and that's on 31 and 34. Well, that's because we just need to add them in. Now, I actually don't think we need to export this because it's only being used in this on click here. So we can actually leave that there. And then search.js handle submit is not defined in tags button. Let's save our create.js, go to our search, finish that. We need to import our get tag buttons. Do the same here. Cut it. Do get tag buttons. Paste it. And in our create, where are we? The tag buttons are here. And it's the tags list that we are going to be throwing into there. So for both of them, let's do tags list. Yeah, there we go. We'll get that. Set that there. And then we're back in our create file. We're going to go ahead and copy line 9 to bring it over to our search. Hit save. Use state isn't defined. That's okay. We need to just do that so we can get it to autocomplete. And then all we have left is handle submit, which we can just do a const handle submit. And we'll just have it do a console log of hello. Awesome. So we see a couple of errors down here. We have set tags list is assigned a value but never used. Let's see why that is. I believe it's because we need to pass it to the handle space down. Yep, we need to pass it to both the get tag buttons and handle space down. And we need to do that in here as well in the create.js. So set tags list, save the create.js, we'll add it here. Now set tags list. And again, to work smarter, just go ahead and highlight that, copy it, bring it down here to the handle submit, save it, and we've gotten rid of all the error messages. So let's go ahead and give this a try. We can see our server is not running. So we'll go ahead and hit this plus button here. Let's go ahead and get our server running. npm run dev start. Get the server up and going. We'll give this a refresh. Perfect. Let's double check to make sure our create is going to work still. So we have the title called hello there. Our tags, we expect when we hit the space or the enter button, a tag to be created. So test, look at that. Hello, awesome. And then if we click the X, we can see that that got rid of it. Add some stuff here, and I believe our create that should still work because it's just a handle submit inside of our create.js file. So what we just did was really important, and I want to talk about that for a second. When you are in a professional position, you might often see React code written by non-React developers. At my current company, that's the situation, and we will have React files that are hundreds and hundreds of lines of code. What you really should focus on, especially with functional components, is making sure that you only have in here what's necessary for the component itself. So if this return statement starts getting too big, that means that there's stuff in here that we can break into its own component and then extract the code from this file into there. We want to always think about how we can make our life easier when it comes to unit testing and not having files get crazy out of control with too many functions being written. So what we just did was a perfect example of that, because we were obviously going to use the exact same functionality of a couple functions in our search.js file. So just extracting it into our utils, we extracted 35 lines of code into a space where it can now just be imported and be reusable, right? So that's super important. It's a great way to shine as a developer. It helps your company and your team know that you know what you're doing, as well as like just keep things really organized. We can also see that this function only does one thing, and maybe handle space down isn't like the correct term for it. A proper term would be create tag item. That might be a better term, because all it's doing is it's looking for the keystroke, and then it's creating a tag item. It just has one responsibility. Same here, get tag buttons. All it's doing is getting the buttons. That's it. Same with remove item. All it's doing is just removing an item. This is called single responsibility, and I believe I touched on it before, but it's going to make your life so much easier when it comes to unit testing. So I hope all that's valuable, and we are making a lot of progress. I'm going to go back here to make sure we don't have any errors. Awesome. Now we'll go to our search page, and we obviously have some issues here, so let's see what's going on. We have cannot read properties of undefined. That's our journal square. That makes sense. Each child in a list should have a unique key property. That's fine. So I believe the error right now in our search.js is just because we have a journal entry square. Right. So that's exactly what I was imagining was going on there. But here we go. Here's our tags list. Obviously that's not working yet, so why don't we go in and figure out why the spacebar is not creating a tag. So handle space down, tags list, set tags list, okay. Input, our reference is to our tags. Let's go in and dig, see what's going on here. Okay, and simple mistake is I actually put tags list. And if we look at our create.js, it's actually just tags. So that should, let's give it a refresh. That is exactly what we're doing there. Perfect. Excellent. So let's work on some SCSS. We want to make sure the search.js looks a bit proper. And right now it is kind of squished. So we want to make sure we got proper CSS going on here. All right, so our class name we want to be, well, let's look. What is our home.scss? We do a little bit of wet code here. I think it's fine. I think we're going to have to for just this, this idea. So let's go ahead. We're gonna grab a number of our imports. And where are we doing it all at? Yeah, we'll go up here. We'll grab these imports. This is in our create SCSS file. We're gonna bring those into our search. And next we're going to do .search. And we're gonna have our @include our page body. And let's make &_journal. And then in here, we're gonna have a couple items. We're going to have our &-container. That's gonna be its own thing. We're going to be &-list. That will be its own one. Now we're also gonna have, outside of this journal, we're going to do a &_header. And we're going to do an &_form-container. And then we'll do &_input. Okay. And then finally, we're going to do .tags. And in tags, we're going to have &space input. Now, don't save that, or at least I'm not going to, because it just trashed all my spacing. But I have obviously built this project, so I know the class names that I have created, right? But going through building this project on the first go round, I did not have these right off the top of my head like I'm just giving to you right now. Typically the process of creating something is you're going to have to go through and think structurally, okay, how do I want my project to look? And a lot of it's trial and error. Like I ended up just starting with search. Right? And then I was like, okay, let me put the form there. All right, so I got search form. And you keep going through, you get everything out of your head first, get it working, and then clean it up. So there's this good saying, there's analysis paralysis. And essentially the saying means you can't create and analyze at the same time. If you're going to make a task list of the things you need to accomplish today, just write all the tasks down and then analyze it to see what is the most important of priority, right? Same with code. Get it out of your head first, get it working, and then analyze it to see where you can clean up, where you can make it better, and just go from there. So with that being said, this is going to be called our search_journal container. I'm sorry. We're going to call this actually our form container. There we go. We're actually going to add another div here. And this div is going to wrap this entire form. And now we're going to go ahead and indent it. And then this will have the class name of search_journal-container. All right, this is going to remain the same. For the form, we'll actually just get a little bit of indented structure there. And then now we have tags, text background, that's fine. Our button's going to be the class name of button. And then this is going to be search-journal list. Now, we can see not much has really changed. Actually, a lot has changed. We don't have that background anymore, right? So we're going to need that. And then we're going to need to make sure it just looks a little bit more aesthetic. We're going to actually throw this to the side, throw this to the side, so we can just see stuff happening in real time. Now in our container, we're going to have our grid area. That's going to equal to body. Do we have this done in some area? Yeah, we do already. So yeah, this is going to be a form of wet code, but the good news is I already taught you how to avoid wet code, especially with SCSS, right? We are doing include page body, which is right here. So it would be a very great practice for you to maybe write your own mixin and try to make this next CSS block, try to make this reusable so it's not wet code. Let me get that out of there. For now, we're just going to go ahead and put that in there. Our tags list is going to be, I wonder if we have this. Yep. This is repeated there as well. So there are two things now that you could use your practice on making them dry code and not wet code. Giving it a refresh. Awesome. Nothing's changed just yet. I actually wonder why nothing has changed just yet. Let's go ahead and inspect. There might be some errors going on. There aren't. So our search, our journal container. So we're obviously, something is happening where it's not importing our items here. So we need to figure out why that's happening because it should be importing them. Let me figure that out here real quick. Oh, can you guess why? Well, we are not importing our CSS file. So we'll do import search, and then our, oops, sorry, we actually just need to do one period and then search.css. Boom. Now if we go to it, there it is. Now we can see everything happening there. All right. So back to our SCSS file. So now our header. Our header is going to have our font size of 36. And I bet you we might have this somewhere as well. Yep. We're going to go ahead and copy this from the home page. All right. Where is our header? It actually doesn't look like we are using a search header class here. So we can actually get rid of that. Bada boom. Okay. But it is going to be important. Okay, why is our tags label not having a proper class name? Let's go ahead and figure that out here. That is because down here we do not define it yet. So we'll do display grid. We're going to do grid template rows. And we'll get rid of that repeat. We're going to do one FR. We're going to create a bit of a margin. So we'll do margin. Actually. Yep, we are doing it here. So let's grab that out of there. Oops. We'll actually highlight this, throw it in there. Boom. All right, so now we have that proper. All right, and then we need to add our color, which is going to be colors dot $font color. There we go. Okay, so I think what I want to do now is get this to fill the whole page, as well as center the tags, the input, and the search. So in our form container, we're going to go ahead and do actually very similar. We're going to copy this. Actually, tell you what, we're going to do display grid. And we're going to do GTC, and we're going to have that be 300 pixels. We're going to do GTR, and this is going to be an interesting syntax. We're going to do auto, and then we're going to do justify content center. All right. And let's go to our search.js, make sure everything's looking fine. Make sure that all applied. Perfect. Display grid. So some really neat thing that you can do is when we are in our elements in our dev console, we can actually see what is all happening here. And our search looks like we have our grid there, but something isn't right. So we're gonna go ahead and figure out what's not right about that. All right, so I found the issue. I have a typo, and that happens sometimes. So it needs to be AI container, and that will get us there. I apologize about that. And hey, you know, it's what happens in development sometimes, right? You can be as advanced as a developer as you want, and simple stuff like that can still happen. So I'm even fallible. Cool. Let's go ahead and get our input to a bit of a max width of 300 pixels. All right, so now, hello, goodbye, those are all there. That's fantastic. So now that that's out of the way, we're gonna go ahead and get our journal entry squares in there. But we also now need to make a connection to our database. So we'll go ahead and up this. Let's go ahead and write our handle submit function. So just to confirm that it works, we can see, bada boom, if we hit search, it had that hello, but what did we learn happens, what we need to do when it just refreshes like that? If you guessed it, we need to do the e.prevent default and capital D. So now if we go back, get rid of those couple ones, we hit search, it's having a bit of an uncaught. That's okay. And that's because we're not passing E in there. And then now, there we go. We have, so our handle submit call is going to be very similar to the one that we made in our create.js. So we're actually going to go ahead and just copy that on over. There'll be a few differences. So this does not count as dry code or wet code because what we're going to be passing in is our tags list. So we'll get rid of journal and we'll get rid of these two. And we're actually not going to spread it out into an array. We're actually just going to have tags list as the thing we're passing. Now we can get rid of that. Close that bad boy there. We don't need to reset the form. but we do need to do a couple different things. We can actually get rid of set is store updated as well. So when we wrote our store context, we are using these and we're using these, but we have not yet used our search state. We're going to go ahead and do that now. So in our search.js, we're going to go up to the top and we're going to go ahead and create our const where we're going to destructure search state and set search state from our use store. We also need to create a search object, and I'll talk about why that is. Now we need a search object because with our search page, we are going to want to grab stuff from the database and present it here, but we don't want to lose our search. So essentially what I mean is kind of similar to what we do on the home page, right? We don't refresh the home page every time. We have a state set that checks to see if there's been an update. And if there hasn't been an update, don't request an API call. With our search page, we want something similar. We want to be able to type in, write a tag here, click the search button, and then ultimately we want to go ahead and be able to click on the journal entry we choose to see it on the view page, which we have yet to create. But then let's say we want to go back, we just click the back button. We still want our search results to be here, right? That's a good user experience. We don't want to have everything cleared and have the user or yourself retype in all the tags and do a search again. So that is the reason behind our search state and why we're going to create a search object associated with it. So we'll do const search object, and now we're going to set search object. All right, and we'll use state there. But now we're going to have an array of an object. So an array, object, enter. And so we're going to have our tags list, and that's going to equal an empty array. And then we're going to have our journals, and that's going to be an empty array. So this will be where and how we can keep our state. We're going to have all the tags that we type in, like could be happy, sad, whatever. All the tags will be stored in the tags list. And then when we click search, all the journal entries will be stored in the journals list. And all these will be a part of the search object. So with that now, we need to update our handle submit function. It's going to do pretty much the same, but we're going to have the then, the catch. After this, we're going to have our set search object method called. So we're going to do set search object. And now we're just going to write some functionality to go ahead and set the tags list and the journals we're going to get. So it's going to be part of the array. Search object, the 0 index journals is going to equal journals.journals. And again, my apologies. I know it's not like a great naming convention, but essentially we're going to make this API call, right? We're going to return the results, and then we are going to set the search object, which is this, and its index is 0, which means it's going to target the first index in the array, which is this object, and then it's going to target journals, which is here. So then we're going to set the array equal to journals.journals. Now we're going to do the same thing with tags list. right, so same thing, our search object, which is up here, going to target the first index of the array, which is here. Then it's going to target tags list, and it's going to make sure that is going to be equal to the tags list we set earlier, or we set as we create our tags, right? So then finally, we're going to set our search object, or I'm sorry, our search state to our search object. Okay, so what that means is our search state is what's going to hold everything in between page navigations, because that's going to be set in our store in our context provider. We're going to set everything we need to set inside our search object, and then once that's all done, make sure our search state matches that. So then if we do navigate away from the page, we'll be all hunky-dory. So now that we got that, we need to go ahead and then update the server to make that call. Wanted to save that here real quick. Let's see, we got a couple things. E is defined but never used. Where's that at? Line 1. Oh yes, we want to delete that. And I don't know if you saw that, but this probably happened when I just typed in E somewhere. We can see journal entry square is defined but never used. Our search state is assigned a value but never used. That's okay, because eventually we're going to go ahead and put it down here in our journal entry square. I guess we could probably just do that now. I'm going to go ahead and cut this for now. We're going to create a ternary where if search state is equal to undefined, then return null. Otherwise, paste, return our journal entry square, where we're going to pass in list, which is equal to our search state index of 0 dot journals. All right, and we need that closing curly bracket there. Awesome. Saving that, now we can see where we don't have any warnings or errors. All right, what we need to do now is on line 18, change this to search, hit save. And our server, we can see we already wrote it, which is great. And now we can go to our React app, and if we type in test1 and hit space and we click search, nothing pops up. That's interesting. What's going on here in our home? Whoa, we have a crash. Okay, what's going on? Getting a bunch of errors here for a sec. So let me just refresh. Okay, so we got test1. Let's go to our search, test1. Now we hit search. There we go. That's what I expected to see. So our search page is working, and so is our API call. Now, you'll notice something here. If we navigate away from it, we click home, and we go back to search, our journal entry squares are there. However, our tags, they're gone. They're gone. We need to fix that. So let's go ahead, and we're going to write a use effect to help us make sure our tags list gets set. So put a colon there. Now we're at use effect. And that's going to be an arrow function. So we'll have if search state, which is a exclamation before search state. We'll have set search state equal to search object. Otherwise, set search object to search state. and then set tags list to search state index of 0 dot tags list. All right, so here's what's happening. If we are going to the search page for the first time and there is no state set in our context, we just want it to be this array of objects with empty arrays, okay? Because we're going to set those in our handle submit object. But if search state is defined because we had already set a context, we want to go ahead and set the search object as well as the tags list. Okay, so we're going to save that. And now we can see our test 1 just popped up. Okay, and just for kicks and giggles, we got to crash again. Undefined 0, that's fine. All right, so now we'll go back to our search. We actually need to clear the cache here because what you'll see here is it's trying to find something, but because we just updated our code, to me it's screaming that we just need to empty our cache and hard reload. How you do that? With your inspect DevTools open, right click this refresh bar up here, empty cache and hard reload. That should get us to home. Okay, so something is actually wrong with our use effect. Let's change it from that to equals undefined. And then if we have an undefined, let's see if that works first. Okay, can't read properties undefined of 0, and that's at line 20. So on line 20, right, our search state is, looks like it's set. So we need to go ahead and do something a little bit different. We're gonna go to our inspect. We're gonna go to our applications tab, all right? And our local storage, or our storage up here, we're gonna actually just click clear all site data. Now I believe that should work. It still doesn't, that's hilarious. All right, give me a sec, let me look into this. All right, so I took a quick sec and looked into it and I found what was going on. Here's what I just did to figure it out. All right, so first, I recognized, okay, I forgot the empty array here. And for use effect, if you have an empty array, that is used to make sure use effect only runs once. That's a tongue twister. Okay, I see that didn't work. And then I was like, okay, let's find out. So I console logged search state because I was pretty sure that was undefined. And when I inspect it, we can see, oh, okay, yeah, undefined. What's going on? Oh, I forgot the return early statement. So if search state is undefined, we want it to set it to this object here and then return, so we skip over these. This is called the return early principle. Typical more junior developers, mid-level to junior, and this isn't to be insulting, this is just like how you grow over time. This is an example. This is typically what mid-level, junior level devs will write. It's not wrong, it works, right? We can see literally that just worked here, right? And even if I click the refresh button, boom, it works. However, it's so much more precise. Like if you have multiple if, else if, else if, else if statements, it's more precise to write targeted if statements for the unhappy path, meaning like if search state does not equal undefined, then have these be up there. And you'll always hear me talk about, okay, if this is a lot more specific than an else statement. Now, granted, with this scenario, there can be undefined, right? But there could also be null. There could also be falsy. There could also be not a number, right? Or nan. So I could actually target specificity depending on what I want to happen for each thing. So I always prefer just using if statements with return early. So returning if it matches, okay? We could also do, this is going off on a tangent here, but if it's exactly equal to nan, right? If search state is, right, maybe it's not undefined. So neither of these, well, I guess this would work before this, but this is obviously just for an example's sake. Ultimately, I want you to get out of the habit of writing else statements. I want you to start thinking of returning early or just writing targeted if statements. And you'll always hear me talk about this, that it will make your life so much easier when it comes to unit testing. So I haven't hit the save button yet, right? We can see the if else worked here, but we can also see the return will work here as well. And now let's type in first. Awesome, we see this is our first entry. Now I can go home. It's waiting, it's gonna fetch everything, and I can go back here and our state retained first and first entry, and then I can X on the first tab. So guys, our app is 90% complete. The final part we have left is to make the page where we can actually view our journal entry in full. And we'll do that in part 7.